Hello everyone, welcome to Nightwatch Release Walkthrough 2.6.0. Uh, we at Nightwatch have had a fantastic 2022 where we released a lot of functionality, hoping that you all also had a great 2022 and wishing a great 2023 ahead. Uh, just give it a couple of minutes for people who are joining in. Until then, I'll just talk about myself and introduce you to the concept of release walkthroughs. So this is Vishal here. I have worked with BrowserStack for around about 2 years now. I used to be the product manager for BrowserStack local, and currently I'm managing the ship for Nightwatch. A little bit about the Nightwatch release walkthrough series. This is the fifth episode in that series. What we do in these videos is we talk about the major functionality and give demos about the functionality that we have released in our latest major release, which is 2.6.0 for now. And if you all are interested to check out what we have released or spoken about in the past, you can go to our YouTube channel and access our previous release walkthrough videos. Right. So yes, I'm seeing that a lot of people have joined in. So we'll continue with our presentation. I'll start off by introducing the panelists today. So we have with us Binayak Ghosh, who's a senior software engineer at Nightwatch. He's worked on a lot of cool functionalities such as HTML reporter, the DOM history that he's going to demo today, and parallelism. We also have with us Ravi Savlani, who's also a senior software engineer at Nightwatch. And he's also worked on a lot of exciting functionalities, namely component testing. He made React work with Nightwatch, and he's also worked along with Binayak on parallelism and making it easier. And we also have with us David Burns, who's the head of open source at BrowserStack. He's also a core contributor to Selenium and is also a chair to W3C browser testing and tools working group. Right. So with that, we'll dive into the agenda for today. So today is a very power-packed agenda. We'll be speaking about HTML remote reporter. So we've completely revamped our HTML reporter with a brand new layout and a lot of new functionalities that Binayak will be walking us through. We also will be showcasing DOM history. It's a way for you to experience how the DOMs changed or how they got manipulated as your tests ran. Post that, we will have a walkthrough on visual regression testing by Ravi Savlani. He will be walking us through the entire user workflow from generating the differences to reviewing the differences to approving your builds. And post that, we'll give a very quick recap of what we spoke about in the previous release walkthroughs and also a sneak peek into what we will be or what you can expect in the upcoming releases. And then we'll end with our Q&A session where you can ask questions around Nightwatch. Right. So with that out of the way, we'll move on straight into the presentation. Really excited to show all the amazing work that the team has done. We'll start off with HTML reporter, and Binayak will be walking us through all the cool functionalities that we have added into the HTML reporter and also how DOM history works. So over to you, Binayak.
Yeah, I cannot seem to share. Okay, thanks. Yep, so as Vishal said, we have revamped our HTML reporter, and I'll go straight into running a few tests and showing that to you. So I have this demo project set up for Nightwatch. It's the one that's created using our Create Nightwatch tool, and we are going to use the test bundle with that. So let's go ahead and try running a basic test. So I'm going to run all the tests in the test as basic folder with 3 environments. And I'm going to use this open flag to directly open the report once the tests are complete. So let's go ahead and run that. As you can see, the tests run parallelly by default now. Yep. So what I have done is include 3 tests with 3 different types. One is going to fail, one is going to pass, and one is skipped. As you can see, just let me get this over. Yep. So we have this summary section on top. It shows you the total number of tests that are run. So this is the total number of tests across the environments, and the number of them which have passed, failed, and skipped. It shows you a neat percentage of that, the total time required to run everything. And over here, we have a environment-wise split of all the test cases. So you can see we ran 3 environments. So 3 environments show up. You can see a little summary over here of how many tests passed in each environment. So this is a very simple demo. So we have only one for each. You can search here for environments if you have many environments. So let's say if I write 3, I get something like this. And we can select one of those to move over to that environment test. So you can see the environment name here specifically, or the browser name used. And you can go through the tests here. Over here, we have all the files that have run. We call them, you can call them specs or modules. For each file, we have multiple sections. So these are the eat blocks. So this one failed intentionally. This one is skipped, so the entire file is skipped. So it shows up like this, and we have something like this, which is passed. Now, in case of a pass test, we get all the steps that the test took and the time that each of those steps took. You can use this search to search through this. There is also this neat little HTTP log that you can see. So this basically shows you the Selenium logs of all the calls that happened through Nightwatch. If there is an error, you can take a deeper look here. For failed test cases, we show this neat error message, which shows the line number where the error has occurred. In this case, you can see that we are looking for title foo, which obviously is not present. And in case of an error, it also shows you the screenshot over here. Okay. You can obviously filter through your past and failed tests here. Look at total time. And that's about, you get the date of the test run. So you can keep these. So these are generated as single HTML files. So you can put these reports to S3 or something to later on take a look at these things. Now let's run a more complicated option. Test case. So this will run a lot more tests, but basically everything should pass. But this sorry, this is going to show you a few more things, few more cases probably. Yeah. So as we can see, in this case, Edge has all its tests passing. Chrome has one test failing, and Firefox has 2 tests failing. Now, in this case, since Firefox has 2 tests failing, we are showing Firefox first. So we sort by the largest failing group. And if you move over to Chrome, you can see that only one test is failing. And if you move over to Edge, everything is failing and we are all happy. Okay, cool. One more thing that is to note here, you can see we have these things called custom commands. So even custom commands show up in our steps. So if somebody has custom commands, they can look at that also. Cool. One nifty thing that you can do while running test is run it using headless mode. And if you run something with headless, you don't get to see the browser. So you don't know what's actually happening behind the scenes. So let's hope something fails here. Yep. So we have failed test cases. You can see the screenshot here. That can help you debug this, but a better way will be to use this new feature which we have added called DOM history. So if you add this trace flag to this, then you will get a DOM snapshot for every test case that you run. I'm not going to run this against every test case because this might take a bit longer. So I'm going to run it against a single test case. Yep. So in this case also, the title failed, right? Now, if the title failed, you can actually go ahead and, so this is the trace or the DOM history that we are calling it. Here, what you can do is go ahead and inspect. Since this is the entire DOM, you can actually go and look at the head tag and see that the title is wrong. And you can go and look at selectors and stuff if you need for that step. So this will help you debug your test cases more easily and hopefully help you find selectors and stuff while writing tests. Okay, let me modify this test a bit. So yeah. So this test case has a few more steps to showcase the trace viewer in more detail. Yep. So whenever the state changes, for example, set value adds something, and if we do a wait for after that, so you can see the state of the DOM change progressively as you go. So after a click, we have this. So this is a thing that we get for Internet Explorer. Okay, let me go to Chrome. So yeah, so in case of Chrome, this thing worked and you can see the DOM snapshot after a click. But in case of, let's say, Internet Explorer, the test failed, not Internet Explorer, sorry, Edge, the test failed. And you can see from the DOM snapshot just before the failure that this is the reason the test failed. So this gives you a good way to look at what changes the tests are making, and you can step through each step and inspect the DOM and find selectors and look at the changes made to the DOM and thereby debug your test cases. Yeah, so that's about it for the DOM history and our revamped HTML reporter. And with that, I guess I'll hand over to Ravi for taking you through the visual regression testing that we have added in Nightwatch.
Thanks, Binayak. So now Nightwatch has visual testing. So visual testing has been released under a plugin called @Nightwatch. So without wasting much time, let me just jump right into the demo and show you how you can use that with few lines of code. One second. Good. So okay, so here we have the to-do project. What I'm going to do is take this to-do React app and extend the test suite by adding some visual test around this. So if you can see the Nightwatch config I have, it already has this plugin installed. So if you want to set it up, look, you can head over to the GitHub documentation. It has all the steps. You can follow that and set it up, but the setup just requires to add a plugin in the Nightwatch config. So for the demo, let's add a visual test for the form component. So let me just write a test for this. Let's visual test. Test for form component. So let's first mount the form component. So it's there under SRC components and form v2.6 if I'm not wrong. SRC components form. Okay. Let's check if the form component is visible. And as a final step, let's add a visual assertion. For this form component. Now, this assertion is provided under that plugin. It also has some other options that you can use, but by default, it has been provided with some sensible configurations. But to take full advantage, you can head over to GitHub and add in more options. Like it also has an option for setting the threshold amount that you like to set while comparing images. So let's actually run this. So the first time we run it, what it will do is it will create a baseline screenshot image for you to, so like it would compare that image with the subsequent test runs, the image captured in subsequent test runs. So if you see here, it has created a VRT folder, and this is the screenshot that it has captured from that. Okay, so let's actually fail this and see how it reports errors. So this is the form component that we have. Let's suppose we add a style over here with a background, let's say green. So I've actually changed this button, and the button which was visible over here, it's in black. Now I've changed it to green. So let's again run this. And let's use the open flag. So open flag does the same thing. It would open the report for you at the end of the test run for you to see if there are any failures. So right now the color is green. It is retrying a few times. And there we have a failure. Okay, just a second. Okay, it was on the other screen. Let me bring it over here. So if you see the test report, it highlights the difference that it has detected while comparing the screenshots. From here, you can also see the latest image, like what was the latest image that was captured. So if you see the difference, it is highlighting that the add button was changed. And if you see the latest, it shows you the latest image. So now let's suppose that I want to approve this. I want to actually have the form component with a green button, green add button. So how would we go about updating our baseline image? So for that, there's a simple CLI flag that you can use called update screenshots. And if you run this with that CLI flag, it will actually go ahead, override the baseline image and store this green image as the file. So this is the HTML reporters. If we've mentioned open, so you can also see like all the commands of visual tests are also shown in the HTML reporter. And if you see over here, everything has been passed. Your baseline image has been updated. So yeah, that's it from visual regression side. Do check it out. Over to you, Vishal.
Thanks a lot, Ravi and Binayak, for the amazing demos. I must say, just add on to that, like the HTML reporter is kind of day and night difference. Really excited for all of the users to try it out and give us feedback on Discord or GitHub in case you face any issues. And the workflow around VRT is also kind of end-to-end complete. So to visualize much easier. So these are all the features that we released in 2.6.0. But just in case you missed it, I will also give a very quick recap of what we spoke about in our previous release walkthroughs. So the first one on the list is, let's say if you're using NX monorepos as your build project, then you can easily integrate Nightwatch into your monorepo by using our plugin. You can leverage the power of Nightwatch testing in your NX projects. Along with that, we also spoke about mobile helper. So this is a very nifty tool wherein you can actually, by running just a single command, you can set up your tests to run on real as well as virtual mobile devices. So you can actually run your tests on your mobile phones, as well as you can run them on emulators and simulators. And all you need to do is just run one command. And we also spoke about API testing. So we are adding a lot of different types of testing into Nightwatch, and we also have our in-house plugin with which you can do API testing. You can mock network requests, and then do assertions network requests using this functionality. So, in case you are interested, you can also go through our previous release walkthrough video to know more about all these topics in more detail. So that was it in our previous video, and now we'll move towards talking about some of the things that are upcoming. What can you expect in the near short term? So for that, I'll hand it over to David.
Thank you for that, Vishal. And first of all, I want to say well done to Ravi and Binayak for their demos. I think kind of they've excelled in the work that they've been doing there. So in the previous release, we talked about how we created a mobile helper. So as part of Create Nightwatch, it's an add-on that then goes and sets up everything. We also know that kind of because mobile is so important that we should kind of improve how people can do native testing. We know that there are a lot of people who do React Native and testing against those quite regularly. And so we are in the next release going to be updating how you can use native mobile, how that works against cloud providers, how it works against real devices or emulators, having set those up before. So it'll be really, really great to see that coming along. And we're also working on improving our selectors. We know how complex web applications are becoming now, especially with like the move to component testing, things like that. And so when you get into like these larger web applications, having good selectors is always useful to keep your tests less flaky and easy to work with. So there's a project that's going on at the moment to do that, as well as kind of improving some of the kind of basic APIs around that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what will be coming out of there, probably towards the end of the month. So I'm very excited for that work. And then there's always bug fixes and things like that. So kind of always keep an eye out for updates. We put those into our Discord updates channel. So if you're not part of that, please do join us.
Okay. Thanks a lot for that, David. I can confidently say, looking at everything, I can confidently say that exciting times are ahead. They await us with Nightwatch. So just want to call out that in case you all are interested in knowing more updates like these, you can feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get notifications about all our future release walkthroughs. Okay. So with that, we are at the end of our presentation. Now we'll open up for question and answers. So if you have any questions around the what we just released or general about Nightwatch, please feel free to post them into the Q&A box and we'll be happy to answer them.
We do have a few in the chat that we could pull in as well from Mark. As well as I think there might have been one on Discord, so I think we've got to look all over the place to get some of these questions, but I'm happy to help out. Should I ask you the questions, Vishal, and then we can go from
I was able to look at them. So first question is by Mark. Can I update certain screenshots only while rejecting others? Where are the screenshots stored? Is it stored locally? Are there other options?
Can take this up. Yeah. So yes, you can definitely accept some screenshots and reject other screenshots. The way to do it is there's a configurations inside the plugin where it says, do you want to enable the prompt? So for every failure, it would ask you to either reject, approve it, or reject it. So by that, the baseline would be updated according to your selections. The screenshots from VRT are right now stored locally. There's also configurations to change the folders if you want to do that. You can have a look at the GitHub README.
Awesome. So just want to add on to that, like while you can of course use Nightwatch and you'll have to do the management of the screenshots locally or somewhere honestly. However, if you don't want to go through that hassle, you can definitely use paid services which help you manage the storage of these screenshots, like Nightwatch integrate with Percy, browser like Percy. So those options can also be used if you don't want to go through the hassle of managing the files on your local machines. Cool. We'll move on to the next question again by Mark. So what frameworks will Nightwatch support for mobile app?
So we're integrating Appium as our kind of main tool. And with the kind of the way their Appium is moving, they're always looking for new drivers. So if they, for example, if you wanted to use detox, you could kind of go via like a detox Appium driver to get that, or kind of just direct into through Appium into what Appium uses. We're always happy to have feedback if there's specific frameworks that you would like us to look at, and we can put it into our product roadmap, see how it's going, and then see about integrating it. We're happy to gather all feedback in this sense, but we're starting with Appium.
Awesome. So we have one more question around visual regression testing. Does it support differences on multiple browsers? So can you do visual regression testing on multiple browsers?
Yes, we can definitely do that. It is smart enough to compare screenshot according to the environment. So if you run it against Chrome, it would compare the screenshot captured against Chrome. And if you run it against, let's say, Firefox, it would compare the screenshots that were captured with Firefox. So it's smart enough to compare the screenshots according to the environments used in Nightwatch.
Awesome. All right, we have one more question. Is Cucumber supported for new HTML reporter? So maybe
Not completely, but we are working on this.
okay. Awesome. David, can you help me with a question on Discord, please?
So it was a question like that. It was are there no current plans to get working with Cucumber? And so it's as Benayak said, we're looking into it. We kind of with Cucumber.js we hand off a lot of the heavy lifting to Cucumber.js, so we need to kind of see like the data that comes back is not in the format that we would like from kind of using other tools. But that doesn't mean that we won't get to it. It's just not been done yet, I think is the best way to phrase it. And we are always looking to see how we can improve things as we go forward. We're a team that definitely believes in get something out there, gather some feedback, and then iterate and move on. So yeah, if we're always happy to hear feedback, and please, I'm always on the Discord server, so feel free to just message me directly or Vishal directly, and we're happy to discuss how we can improve things.
Awesome. We have one more question. So does the HTML reporter work with describe and it test annotations only?
It should work with the module layout or the export structure, not only with describe.
Right. I think those are the only questions. Just give it a couple of moments in case anyone wants to ask any more questions. Please feel free to put them in the Q&A chat box. All right. Doesn't seem like we have any more questions. So that kind of brings us towards the end of our entire webinar session. I'd like to thank Ravi, Binayak, and David for joining us and giving us the awesome demos. Thanks a lot. I know a lot of hard work has gone into it. So yeah, it's finally there for our users to use it. And before we part ways, just have a very quick announcement. So in case you have any suggestions or in case you are facing any issues, please feel free to raise issues on our GitHub page, or you can join us on our Discord server. Our community is growing. We are slowly marching towards an active community of 300 members. So like we would be definitely more than happy to help you out on Discord. And in case you all are interested in updates around Nightwatch, product updates, any other updates around Nightwatch, please feel free to subscribe to us on Twitter and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And last but not the least, we also have Substack. So if you subscribe to Substack, I promise you, we will not send you more than one update in a month. But that one update will actually summarize everything that we have released and made available to all of you. Right. So that brings up to the end of today's session. I'd like to thank each and every one of you all for taking the time out and joining us, and wishing you all a happy new year once again, since this is our first video in 2023, and have a great week ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.